Welcome to Master Manual, the podcast about game mastering and such. I'm Spencer Crittenden.
I'm Cohen Edenfield.
And we're here to talk...
About?
I don't know. What are we talking about?
Oh, I thought you were throwing it to me.
I was. Okay. But
I just
wasn't ready to,
one word.
to take it back.
I think we're talking about dungeon mastering, game mastering, game creation...
And to a lesser extent, just kind of RPG gaming and stuff, but mostly like game mastering, right? Kind of. Yeah. Not ideally. We're going to start and probably mostly dwell in the realm of Dungeons and Dragons, specifically 5th edition.
It's definitely a realm. It's like we're not in a milieu. When it's Dungeons and Dragons, it's a fucking realm.
It's a plane.
It's a realm. It's a plane.
Yeah.
The lands.
The
Eastern Moors,
the mines of Dungeons and Dragons.
We're
gonna stay inside.
We're gonna get some big raw gemstones.
Yeah, but we're gonna mostly just answer questions and maybe do some other stuff, right?
Yeah, it's like you go to your Instagram, that's us like going out and getting like going down into the mines and getting a big raw gemstone, and then we just bring it up and we cut it and varnish it,
right, and then we show it to you, or you listen to it. We let you hear the gem.
Yeah, it's a new thing, and it's really good,
and everybody loves it, and no one dislikes it, and it's been rated highly on iTunes
already,
and that can't be disproven.
No.
So yeah,
it certainly can't be disproven in a reciprocatory audio format. Like nobody can step in and tell us we're wrong here.
It certainly can't, and there will never be an opportunity for anyone to.
No,
across any platform.
No, I don't look at the internet anymore.
Yeah, but so once again, I'm Spencer. You might know me from the Harmontown podcast. You might also know me from a show I do called Harmon Quest. I've been playing D&D since like 4th or 3rd grade or something, since my cousin taught me to play. And then later, another friend of mine from school brought a monster manual. Oh, that's similar to the name of this podcast.
It's very similar to the name Master Manual.
I wonder if that makes any companies nervous.
No. It's fine.
But I've been playing Magic: The Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons probably longer than I've done anything else. So drive a car,
definitely
speak
that.
Publicly, podcast, anything.
Those are pretty new. Some of those are pretty new.
Podcasting,
so for sure. Yeah.
That D&D's existed for like 30 years or something.
Yeah. I'm Cohen, and I'm a narrative designer, game writer person. I like video games and writing them, and about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I started getting into D&D. But I like all kinds of games. I've dungeon mastered a few times. I've played in campaigns a lot. I have a master's degree in English literature.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I just thought I'd drop that.
Yeah, I mean that's really. I'm very unsarcastically intimidated all of a sudden.
Oh, no,
I mean, I
sorry.
knew that about you, but just hearing it on a podcast is like, holy shit, fucking buckle in.
I wanted to establish bona fides.
That's exactly what you did, and I think the listeners will be like, fucking,
what, that asshole? Why does he have that? If it makes you feel any better, it is literally in a dumpster somewhere.
It's good. I mean,
they mailed it to me after I moved. And then I still owed them money, so I didn't want to ask them to mail me another one.
Whereas I accidentally found out I was given an AA degree. So, AA? Different strokes. Yep. I'm 3 years sober.
Oh, shit.
No. AAA is basically non-existent diploma.
Oh.
It's better than a GED.
Shit.
Oh, it's better than a high school degree, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's the only thing it's better than. And, a high school degree is nothing, so.
It's true. I mean, much love to everybody who has a high school degree, and stay in school, children.
Yeah, but I do have an AA in Dungeons and Dragons, so that might be a little relevant.
Yeah, you have an AA D&D.
Yeah. Advanced.
They only made it for you. Only you were strong enough.
Yeah.
All right. What do we? Let's. We're meandering. What do we got?
No, we're not.
We're not.
We're doing great.
I love meandering.
I know that's gonna be. Do you have any top of the show things to talk about?
What's up with all this D&D stuff they make where it's like a box and it's got figures and stuff in it, and they're like Thieves of Waterdeep. What is all that? Is that always just like modules and the stuff that goes with it, or?
Well, you say Thieves of Waterdeep, so Lords of Waterdeep is an actual board game that is related to, but isn't Dungeons and Dragons, but is made by Wizards of the Coast. But I think it's also like a adventure path or campaign module. So,
all right. Well, now I know. I guess that was all I wanted to talk about.
But that's a real corner case. Like,
I was just curious.
If you were trying to draw a broader generalization, I don't know if I was helping.
Oh no, I just I saw it on my phone a little bit ago and I forgot to click on it, and so I thought I'd chime in and ask you.
Yeah, well, I could be 100% wrong.
We'll never know.
I just not together. You saw it too, though. We saw Ant-Man, the new Ant-Man.
Oh, that was fun. Yeah,
I really liked it.
That was I liked the narrative conceit of having a location be a thing that is moved around and as people are fighting over.
Yeah,
is fun.
I saw that in the trailer and I was like, oh, what a gimmick. It's a neat gimmick. It's like a fun laugh scene for the trailer. It sets up, oh, it's Ant-Man, things change size. But like then that's like the whole movie in not a bad way, but it's like a really big
really
deal.
Important. Yeah. It's high stakes.
Anyway, great movie.
Let's go to the Instagram.
JC_Condre asks, how do you get your friends to even try any RPG in the first place? I think my circle of friends would enjoy it, but no one will commit to even trying.
Do a lot of the work for them.
Yeah, so
approach them individually and don't bring it up when you're out at dinner.
Right. Let's assume you're a DM in this situation, right? And you know how to play. Yeah. So
that's a big first step. Be the DM.
Right. So if you're trying to get a game together, it's hard to put together a group. It's harder to find a DM or to get someone to be a DM than it is to find a group. It is hard to find a group. It is harder to find a DM.
DM's like a drummer.
Or a referee. It's like if a basketball team had to just ask someone to be a referee.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, hey, Cohen, me and my friend Colin are going to play basketball. Would you like to referee?
Yeah, when you want to keep score.
Would you like to bring the ball and paint the court and then be the referee?
and then also the announcer.
Right, you're the announcer, you're the scorekeeper.
Also, if we get bored, you have to change the rules.
Mm-hmm. And you give us penalties, and we get mad at you about the penalties, and that's your job to deal with that.
Yeah, and then you try to kill the ball.
Yeah, you stab the ball, but not too early because that's like bad sportsmanship. But it's a hard task. It's hard to get a DM. It's not an appetizing prospect. It takes like a mix of ego or selflessness or both to do it. So get a DM. But how do you get
the DM? If you're the one pushing this, that has to be the sell.
Right. If you're already the person putting in the most effort, you're not going to find someone who's going to put in more effort, which is being the DM.
That's also just really good advice, like creatively.
Right. Yeah.
Like
in
terms of creative pursuits. Like if you're the person who cares about something the most, start working on it.
Right.
Start building like a narrative.
Yeah. Do something and show it to people and get their responses, and then do more.
Also, I feel like the starters. Start with a small group. Don't try to get 80 of your friends to play D&D.
Yeah. Let's say 3 people, maybe 4.
Yeah. If you can get 3, maybe 4.
Yeah.
3 works.
3 works. It's just tenuous if anyone starts missing. I feel like with 4, one person can miss. But yeah, 3 definitely is fine. 4 is good. I'd say 5, things start slowing down, especially for beginning. And especially for trying to get people into it, you'll be more engaged with 3 or 4 players.
Yeah.
What else? Kind of like he thinks his friends will enjoy it, so you want to maybe tell him, like, show him some fun content, like there's Critical Role and Adventure Zone. Does Adventure Zone have any like mini animations online or anything?
Oh yeah.
So if you
like 800,000 of those,
right? So find stuff like that. Harmon Quest is good.
Yeah, the thing you made. The thing you made is very good. You should show them that.
Yeah, there's all sorts of things that showcase playing D&D in a way that, like, say 5 years ago simply didn't exist. So getting them to see what it is could be good.
Harmon Quest is particularly good because it's animated, and also you play things pretty. I don't want to say loose.
Yeah,
but you definitely allow for like a lot of engagement.
I want to say loose.
Okay.
We play things pretty
You say
loose.
loose.
I would say the first episode of the first or second season of Harmon Quest are pretty good introductions that use guests who don't know the game very well, so it's kind of a good cipher for the audience.
Yeah.
Or for your new players. But, okay, so that's... How do you convince, like, that's the thing is, like, how do you... If they don't want to do it, you can't, really, so...
Start with, like, one person. Start with one person in your group.
Right.
And then start with the person who is most into it.
That's the most susceptible person.
Yeah, and then try to get one more, and then try to get one more.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not it's not necessarily always the time in your life that D&D is going to happen. There are some times when you might not have people who, but there are also a lot of you can find groups.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like don't I don't know. Tell them you're going to help them make their characters, do a whole thing, take a lot of the work onto yourself, and then find elements of it that they can engage with.
Right. And the last thing is getting someone to commit to regularly doing something once a week is very hard. It's hard to commit to going to the gym once a week. It's hard to commit to going to piano practice once a week. It's hard to go to church. It's hard to do that.
Here's a trick, though. Good trick. When at the end of your first session, figure out when you're going to play again.
Right. That's smart.
Everybody gets out their count. You, like, sort of do Three Witches from Shakespeare. When will we three meet again?
Yeah.
Like that does wonders for preserving a campaign.
Yeah, that's really smart.
Get a group text going too.
Yeah, I find it, I mean, obviously it all depends. I find like having a really consistent schedule helps, but at the same time, like if you can't bend, you break. So that's bad. But I just like, in my experience, there's a strong trend of strong attendance. Mm-hmm. And then there's the first cracks, like someone misses and then someone else misses, or someone misses 2 weeks. And then almost immediately after those first cracks start showing, the whole game falls apart. And it's usually scheduling just kind of builds up. And I think it's real, like optimistically, it's that a lot of people are making big sacrifices to their schedule to do it. And then
once other people don't,
then they go like, well, yeah, no, I got to pick up my kid too, or whatever, And so I think that it just kind of, it falls apart. It's hard to sustain. It's always hard to sustain a D&D game.
I haven't in games that I've played in, we did not play unless everybody could come.
Right.
Like the whole like having somebody miss, it's like, so you don't play as often, but you don't really have that, and also people never feel like, I feel like when people start missing, they immediately feel like they are not connected to the story.
Right. That's an interesting thing. I don't think I've ever considered that aspect of it, but I think that probably really changes your relationship with the group and like the group kind of delusion or whatever of the game world.
It becomes the thing that can go on without you, so you don't have that feeling of responsibility. Like, well, if I don't go, then people aren't going to be able to play this game.
Yeah.
It's like it becomes the thing that you're choosing to do, like getting regular drinks at a bar or something. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm a recovering alcoholic, and a lot of my metaphors are going to go that way.
That's fair. I mean, that'll be helpful to all the people who have alcohol in their lives, which is most people, right?
It's true. It's very popular because it's so fun.
It's
it's a blast.
They call it the new checkers.
Checkers,
alcohol.
checkers, right? Like the game checkers,
yeah,
or like rallies.
That's how fun it is.
Oh, I thought you meant the fast food place.
Oh no,
from Georgia.
That's fun too, though.
Yeah, they have good fries.
Yeah, there's the rallies down the street, not down the street in Silver Lake area.
They just fry the Christ out of them. There's no potato left. You just have a skin.
That can be good.
It's so decadent.
It's chef's kiss, as they say.
Mm-hmm. It's a good a fry.
It's a good a fry, coming at you live from the Starburns fry vats.
Oh yeah, I guess so. No. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, because it's a ripoff of that concept of eats a good
pizza
or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's do another question, huh?
Yeah.
BD Brooker.
Well, wait.
Oh.
What if we do a bit first? What if we do the thing? And then
are you saying we should do one of our famous segments?
Yeah, let's do one of those. I mean, play. It's like Jimmy Buffett says, play the hits.
It's time to crack into one of our famous segments. We're calling this one the segment.
I don't think we're calling
the name. The name isn't. The name is import. Name. We don't have to name it. No, this is name the name.
This is the come up with names.
Naming.
All right.
This is naming. This is coming up with a good name on the first try.
Okay.
Or whatever we want to call it. So when we talked about this in the past, the idea was you can write and prepare a lot of names, but often you end up having to improvise names on the fly. And so it's something that's fun to practice.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Okay.
So
let me get
sorry, I think you were gearing up for the other side.
No, it's okay. It's allowed to be flat-footed. It's good.
Yeah, you don't have your dex bonus right now.
It's good. This is the situation in which this is really the mindset in which you have to come up with names on the green.
Yeah.
So, and I'm gonna throw it back on you. Give me a name.
All right. I just came up with Atarka Broneboff, which is almost certainly like Atarka is the name of a dragon from Magic the Gathering, and then like the other word I said that I couldn't even say just as like a baby saying the word bone broth.
Bone broth?
I think I said bone broth or something. I think I said bome, like BOME bruff. But
right.
I mean,
tell me about them. What are they into?
Atarka bone broth. That's like an old lady who makes soup.
Ooh, does she make it out of like bones? Human bones?
And they're human bones.
Oh, and when you drink this soup, you recover. You can like
retain.
You gain the
past
memories and of the people.
That could be cool.
But only until you piss it out.
Yeah. So go.
Okay. Polyhedral.
Polyhedral.
Of the polyhedral of the Jaunty Madrigal.
Polyhedral of the Jaunty Madrigal. What is that? Is that a cult?
It's a song. It's like a song.
Okay.
She's a bard and she plays a tune that makes folks dance involuntarily even if they're asleep.
What's her name?
Polyhedral?
Polyhedral.
I was holding this die and I worked back from
polyhedral.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad we spelled that out. I might go out on a limb and say people might have been able to put that together.
Okay. Well, I didn't know.
No, I'm glad.
Never know.
I think it was good to say. I just think it's also good to say.
Sort of expressing the etymology. It's important. Okay.
This is the master's degree.
This is Polly. Her name is his name is Roland Dice.
His name is Roland Ice.
Roland Ice.
Yeah. Okay. Let's wait. Hold on. I think I have a music.
Oh, you have a music? Oh.
So this is like a background music for
now there's a pace for what we're doing.
Yeah.
Now there's a way to keep it going. Screwing.
Griffin the black.
Griffin the white. Wizards, they fight every single night. A wizard's duel at wizard's school. And when two wizards meet, only one wizard will be left on his feet.
All right. You wanna do a lightning round?
Yeah. Yes.
Or we could just rap. Wizard rap.
Oh no. Oh.
Yeah, so lightning round. All right. Okay.
I went to high school with a guy and we had to write poems.
So you are rapping.
A little bit. I just want to tell this story. I went to high school with a guy and we had to write poems. And his poem was called Two Wizards. I don't remember much about it, except he would end every stanza with two wizards. And there was a line that's the only part I remember, and it's probably the last thought I'm going to have before I die. It's going to be like on my deathbed. When wizards meet on Wizard's Field, the wizard's wizard will be revealed.
Damn.
It's fucking incredible.
Two wizards.
Name a wizard.
Cornelius.
The
bumbling.
Oh, this sucks. This is a suck-ass wizard.
He's got a low dex.
Okay. All right. Harmonia the Velvet Lynx. Harmonia the Velvet Lynx. She's a shapeshifter, but she has to use fabrics to turn into the animals.
Hell yeah.
So, like, she could use like some rough spun to become like a cotton dragon, or she could become like a taffeta ogre.
Taffeta?
Yeah, it's like the ruffly stuff on the ends of sleeves on old-timey dresses.
I believe it. That sounds right.
I might be getting that wrong. Okay, now, what's next?
Soy... No. Sauce.
Soy
sauce.
Soy sauce. Let's just leave. Let's move on.
Soy sauce.
Potentially
the
problematic. Oh no, it's worse. You somehow made it worse.
What do you call it?
Delirium, the mind mage.
Whoa.
He comes to you, and you're in the cracks of psychosis that is brought on by living in the modern world. And he makes you think that your neighbor is lowering your water pressure.
Soy sauce.
You know, there's so many. Are they all named soy sauce?
I think that's the same character.
Oh no!
I just rolled him again.
Okay, we gotta dig deeper.
It's no good. Okay, let me try again. How about Cedric the Boring?
Is this a take on Cedric the Entertainer?
I guess it must be, yeah.
Cedric the Boring. He's a
dwarven miner.
He's a dwarven assassin.
Okay.
Or he's a rogue, and he just looks very boring, and so nobody notices him, and he's able to get into places.
Oh, I meant like he bored tunnels.
Oh, well, that's how he does it. Nobody notices his non-exciting tunnels.
Well, that was the best segment so far.
Very good.
On the show.
Excellent.
With a great name that's thought of by people good at thinking up names. I think you definitely won this round.
Well, I mean, that was your beat, so I mean, I can't really.
Oh,
you
yeah.
Sort of had What's that song? Da, 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 da.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what it's called, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. I found it one time by googling da 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 song. People know which one I meant.
Yeah, no, it definitely. You can Google more songs than you should be able to using that method. It's strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We only have one kind of brain. All right, another question.
Yeah. Let's crack.
Or should we do a break?
Let's. We're gonna be back with a quick break.
All right. After this becomes monetized and we re-upload these old episodes, this is where the commercial will be.
Do you have chapped dragon skin? Use Dragon Balm to...
Dragon Balm. I prefer Dragon Balm Z.
Use Dragon Balm and now Dragon Balm Z to unfuck your scuck.
Unfuck your bleeding draconic hole.
Your cracked draconic lizard glands hole.
Why are your tongue and teeth so drenched in the blood of your broken face?
Because you haven't tried Dragon Balm Z.
Just glue all your shit back together so you can go out into the world, you piece of crap.
Use the promo code Master Manual and get 10% off.
Oh, don't leave money on the table. Haven't you fucked up enough?
And we're back with Master Manual. I'm Spencer Crinton.
I sure enjoyed that suite of products.
Yeah, and if you like any of them, please buy them, and please send them a personal email saying that you would never have done this, but we're so good at our jobs.
And then
you
send me an email saying that you did that, because I things have been rough lately, and I need a win.
Is that true?
No, they're all right.
Okay, good. I was worried.
That is how I will deliver if things are going bad.
No, me too. That's the thing.
All right, what do we got? We got questions?
Scott Gilliam asks, what percentage combat slash versus and what percent of combat slash versus social... Okay, sorry. What percentage of combat versus social and exploring encounters do you aim for? I find most of the games I play end up glossing over the non-combat elements.
Make the non-combat elements more interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I think that comes down to the group, probably.
It does.
You know, so you might be playing with a group that likes combat, or you might be playing with a DM who likes combat. Because it sounds like from this person's perspective that they were a player and not a.
That's true. But I mean, you as a player can make the non-combat stuff more interesting.
Right.
Get your character really into clothes. Start trying to make clothes. Find yourself a seamstress.
You just talk to people, try and do stuff. Like I remember in the only 5e campaign I really was a player in, there's all these old people because part of the plot was that the young people were being killed off and the babies were being stolen, and the old people were basically all kind of evil, we found out, but I didn't know that at the time. Anyway, there's all these old people, and I was like, all these old people, they're just sitting around talking. What if I, use them to be a whisper network? And I was trying to set up a whisper network using all these old people from different lands. And that, I'm sure the DM wasn't prepared for any of that, but that was just something that I kind of just was like, yeah, this seems like there are all these old people. I'm going to try and engage with them in some way. And so, there are going to be things, or you can drum up some things and then try and engage with them and hope, the rest of the party kind of gets interested or something.
You can also express things if you feel like there's a lot of combat, and you can express that through your player, because sometimes people don't want to tell a DM how to do it. They don't want to have that private conversation. Like, look, we've been having a lot of combat, and I just want to engage with the role playing a little bit more. That can be, especially if everybody else seems to be enjoying it. But just have your character be like, let's try and see if we can do this without killing something this time.
Yeah.
Or get engaged with the other things. Like if you go through a town, spend some time there.
Right. Yeah. It's I don't know. It can be tricky because the DM might not always be prepared for stuff like that, but you can definitely try, and there's definitely things to interact with. So
it's an unfortunate side effect of the fact that so much of what you are given in this game is the ability to engage with it on a violent axis.
Right. And the books kind of point this out because it's not necessarily obvious, but there are ways to deal with combat situations that aren't combat. You can talk people down, you can hide, you can,
bribe them.
You can bribe them. You can do a lure where you have them chase you and then you do a big loop around. Yeah. There's, and just specific, in the DM guide, I think they talk about you could get say there's a rust monster or some sort of monster in a dungeon, you can get a dead goblin from another room and toss it to him and then run past it while he's you can't, even monsters that or encounters that want to kill you, there are ways that you can deal with them in more of a puzzle way. So that's another angle to start trying to explore things. That's also, I don't know,
I think this is a problem with this is why I like milestone-based leveling as opposed to experience-based leveling. Yeah. Is if you start getting into you gain this much experience for fighting this or fighting this, and if you don't get experience for not fighting things, it turns everything they encounter into a bag of money and points, which is not necessarily the most fun way to engage with things.
Yeah, it's not fun because it's like a bad video game, and D&D is at its best when it's not approximating a bad video game.
Yeah, because video games are really good at automatically doing all that shit. Yeah.
So just to put this out there, my instinct is that it's a DM thing. I don't know if they're using prepared modules that have a lot of combat, or if they're preparing content that has a lot of combat. But that's my instinct. It is an
easy thing to prepare compared to other things,
right?
If you have to fill 2 hours and a fight is going to take 45, and another fight is going to take 45, that certainly makes that an easier 2 hours to fill. Because I can stat out, 3 bugbears and their null allies.
Yeah, or you can bring the monster manual. Yeah, you don't even necessarily have to prepare anything.
Oh, yeah, I like to write stuff.
No, I'm just saying that people who are lazier than you.
Yeah.
Because that's the problem. I mean, that's, again, this is my instinct, is that the problem is that DM is maybe just at a level that you're not engaging on. And so you can't really make someone else better at their job. You can talk to them about
it. You can let them know you can politely let them know.
I like puzzles.
Yeah. Try to engage. The first, it's like a thing if you're at a job. It's the first thing is to try to fix the problem yourself. Politely. use the tools that are in the game already, which is to engage with things in a way that is not violence. Try to look for lateral solutions or non-violent stuff. The next step is to express it as in character, and then maybe you could talk to the DM. But if the whole group is super into combat and resistant to this, that might just be kind of how things shake out. But a good DM will find places for you as a player, because you are part of the group, and you shouldn't just be outvoted.
And hopefully using some of these techniques will kind of expand the zone where you can be having fun, ideally.
All right. You want to do one more?
Let's do one more.
All right. Let's end strong.
Let's end strong.
What do we got?
I hate all these.
No, they're good. They're great.
If you ask me a question on the Instagram very nicely, like I asked you to, you did work on my behalf. You're a fucking loser who failed me.
No, you're a saint.
Yeah, thanks so much.
I think they're a treasure. Every single one of them, and they should follow me on my Well, no, I don't use my Instagram.
Yeah, me neither. I don't use yours.
Better not. Get your fingers.
Steer writes, what's the best way to improve as a DM? I've tried a couple times, and I find my pacing to be slower than I'd want it, and no matter how much I prepare, I always feel like I'm a clunky DM. Also, I hope the question came on time. Well, I could have self-edited that.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I like the question is a little intimidating, so I like that they kind of were a little nervous.
Yeah, it's not easy question.
They said, how do you, the pacing is too slow.
Yeah. So first of all, let's just say there's something in humanity where you are a better consumer and critic of something than you are capable of producing it. You open a trash can that's a shitty trash can. You know it's a shitty trash can. That doesn't mean you can make a better trash can. You just know it's bad.
You understand if it's letting you down.
Right. When you're making art, or doing music, same thing. You're going to be bad. You're going to be like, this isn't like the music I normally enjoy that is good. I hate this. I hate myself. So that's just always going to follow you. So to some extent, this is just a natural response to doing something, is feeling like you're plodding, slow, clunky, not doing it as good as you should be.
Here's just, I feel like this is a good foregrounder for everything else. If you have notes that you make, which I assume you are if you're DMing, after you play, like the next day or something, go through your notes and then just like mark them up a bit. Like, well, took forever on this. This was confusing. If you have a map, try to like trace the path that they took and see. It's like, wow, if you have 3 rooms that are connected in a triangle shape, that'll fuck up players every time, because it's super hard for us to get a beat on that description of things.
Yeah.
If you think
right, so like a post game breakdown, like notes session.
Yeah, talk to your players a little bit too. I don't know how do you I think we talked about this before, is like light a fire under them. If things are slow paced, like escalate the pace.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say what you mean by slow, because that could mean people are asking you rules questions and you're stumbling to look them up or answer them. It could mean that you're stumbling to find narration when it becomes relevant. Like, oh, I go through the door. Okay, let me take 2 minutes to find the page of what it says when you go through the door. So it's like that stuff is just kind of, I don't know. Like some of that's practice, some of that's just kind of like natural finesse or something.
You'll learn what works best for you with practice.
Right. So like a lot of this is just like be easier on yourself, because what you're doing is something that's not easy or intuitive necessarily, and involves a lot of juggling of a lot of different aspects and levels of thinking. So it's not going to be supernatural, and if you're feeling like you're bad at it, that's because you're a normal person.
Also, don't compare yourself to slickly edited D&D podcasts.
Yeah,
where it's like they cut out 60% of people like looking things up or trying things that don't work, and to give you a more engaging narrative experience. That is not they're not even doing that. They're not playing at that pace.
Yeah, and also it's your first couple of times in the question, so of course you couldn't be a slickly produced podcast on your first couple of times. Like you're a guy DMing for your friends or whatever.
Play more. Play more is one.
Do it more. Like specifically, I think you want to think about terms of like there's operating the rules. That's when the player wants to do something, your turnaround time of being able to tell them what happens. Not saying whether they can do that, not saying, oh, I'm not quite sure. Being able to give them the result. So if that's something you're slipping on, you want to focus on the rules, memorizing the rules. If it's looking stuff up, you can also copy stuff down.
Yeah, have if it helps, have references for the things that are going to be relevant to your players specifically.
Yeah.
Like if you have a guy if you have a guy who's always trying to grapple things, like make sure you know how the grapple rules work.
Yeah.
And if you don't know something, look it up and then like try to remember what it is or write it down.
And here's a rich guy solution or whatever. There's different levels of paying for this. But if you have PDF copies, you can you can copy and paste sections of that copy into like a large PDF file or Word document.
You can also
and then
just take
print
pictures
that out
of the book with your phone.
Right, you can, but then I like to have physical pages. So you take
pictures
pictures and
of
print
the
them
book
out.
with your
You can also just take your book to a photocopier and then cut it. But like the end result is I like to have cheat sheets that are like, here's the section of all the domain spells for a cleric. And so like all the kind of relevant rules section. And then I might actually get channel smite or turn undead or something and have the rules. So I just have a page with all the rules text just kind of assimilated into a page. And then that's cleric because for my cleric player. And so that's something you can do. Both players, it's cool. Both players and DMs can use that to have rule pages at ready access without having to leaf through the book. I think that's an amazing way to increase your turnaround time of being able to get answers to the actual rules. In 5e, it's a lot simpler than other editions. So
I mean, this is the concept of the Dungeon Master screen. The inside of it is just covered with like quick reference stuff.
Yeah. So DM screen could be helpful too for you.
Yeah, and like add stuff to it, like put little note, like maybe you don't
Sticky
need
notes.
a thing for like fall damage,
right?
Or whatever.
Yeah, and you cover it up and then you put a new thing on
it. Yeah, or put tape on an index card with like information that you've written on there, and then tape it on.
Yeah, so that's the rule. I'm sorry, we were about to say
that was it. Just tape that motherfucking index card.
Yeah, so that's the rules side of it. So then there's improv. So it's like, oh, I want to jump off a cliff. I never thought about what that would happen. I got to come up with that's at the bottom of the cliff now. That's literally just practice. I don't, other than take an improv class, I have no idea how to instruct you to get better at that.
Yeah. Jumping off a cliff. This is my one thing where I tell players, like, are you sure? And I quickly brief them on the fall damage mechanics.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's one time I will always pull back the curtain. I'm like, you're gonna take 1d10 for every 10 feet you fall. So this is like an 80-foot cliff.
Yeah, it's worrying to yeah, that's like a real problem with me is like if they don't seem to understand the ramifications of your actions, like how much do you tell them, or like, oh, you get a sense that jumping off the cliff might kill you.
Yeah.
Like, because then it's like, or it might be dangerous or something, and then.
Yeah, but it's like we try to get them into dangerous situations all the time. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's rarely does somebody walk up to a party of adventurers and say, please come into my safe. Well, if it's a trap.
Right.
If it's a trap, that does happen.
So I'm trying to think. But there's rules and then there's improvising. What else is there? There's
pacing.
There's pacing. So that's
pacing.
Getting your players to actually.
Yeah. Well, here's a good one. Know that you can end a conversation as an NPC.
Right.
Because players will often just keep trying to talk to an NPC
that's
for as long as that person will talk to them. Right. And then you get trapped into a loop where they think they're still in a conversation because it's important, and you're just trying to let them engage with them. But people in real life aren't going to talk to you for as long as you want forever.
Yeah.
Like have people like I got stuff to do. I'm getting back to my shop now.
Right. So that's good. You're right. Pacing was something he targeted. That was something I had thought about, because in terms of pacing a story, because that's narrative storytelling more than it is the art of dungeon mastering. I mean, It applies to dungeon mastering, but it's talking about accelerating a story and increasing the pacing of a story is something you'll always bump up against. It's almost always right to accelerate a story.
Yeah.
Usually if a story doesn't make sense, you can accelerate some aspect or start it in like the middle of the story, and that's a vast accelerator. And so a lot of those techniques in writing, do you have any of these in terms of accelerating a story?
Oh yeah. Introduce a threat. Did it introduce the threat in an immediate way? Mm-hmm. Is a big one. Like there's a lot of tools for that. Just a monster, the guards come, something happens. Here's a tip. Mm-hmm. we were in. I was playing a campaign, and we were in this like ancient underground temple that had been like vacated.
Right.
And there were these like shallow indentations on the floors in all these different rooms, and they were like, oh, it's like a quarter inch deep, 8 feet wide by 10 feet long. We were like, what is this? And we obsessed over it over and over again, and we kept trying to come back to it. And the DM was like trying to move us along, but he didn't want to just say what it was. And we eventually found a ghost who was like, oh, those are carpet runners. That's where the carpets went in this temple. But it was just that kind of thing. You can have someone make an insight check and then just give it to them.
That, I think, yeah, because it's so easy to agonize over that and feel like you're giving it too much credit or whatever. But
don't be afraid to give them a kind of a boot in the ass if they're completely barking up the wrong tree.
In the 5th edition book, they seem pretty comfortable saying, "Oh, you can just tell someone to make a wisdom insight check or an intelligence check and get some clues." Yeah. And I think that they're saying that because I think this is such a common problem that people agonize over that it's like it's not worth it, you know?
Yeah, given the opportunity to try to investigate and try anything, it is very difficult to curate the specific experience that in a group of people will lead to them coming to the solution in the right amount of time that doesn't feel too easy.
Right.
So
yeah.
they need your help.
One of my things is like one of my approaches in DM is I say keep the game moving. Like that means it doesn't mean keep the game moving even if the players don't want to. It means keeping the players engaged and having fun and not spinning out. And I think in the service of that, and I haven't done this, but I think using an insight check or an intelligence check like that and even suggesting it to them as a course of action, I think is one of the best ways to keep the momentum going and keeping the game moving.
Yeah. I think if they're trying to figure something out, it's like if they're trying to jump across a gap, I tell them to make an athletics check. If they're trying to figure something out, I will tell them to make an insight check. And those can be hints. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be the solution.
Yeah,
but it can be the difficult to deliver hint.
Right. And that doesn't mean you have to speed everything along because it's like sometimes your players want to agonize or think about something. Like some groups might stay in a shop and be like, oh, I'm not sure, do we need 40 or 50 feet of rope? And if that's what they like, then you don't want to be like, okay, hurry it along, because that's kind of weird.
Yeah, but guaranteed, unless you have a very, very specific group, the thing that one person is obsessing over at length with an NPC is going to start to bore at least 2 other people in the group.
Yeah, I meant like everybody. But yeah, you don't want to just let one person have their fun and everyone else kind of go. That's exactly the circumstance where you want to try and move things forward, keep the game moving, suggest to someone an insight check or something.
Shopkeepers are busy. They can get very tired of selling you rope all day.
Also, they're like, people coming in all day. I don't need your money. Get out of here.
Yeah, it's like buy it or go.
You're pissing me off.
You know what?
I'm racist against you now.
Yeah. And you've created kind of a fun antagonistic relationship with an NPC that you can bring back.
Yeah. Also, yeah. Anytime you can tag any interaction with an NPC, like write that down because it's like, oh yeah, now it's this guy's son, or like this guy's head turned giant and now he's a villain, or like I don't know. You can always use anything that your players latch onto. Yeah, I don't know, but just any last words on pacing? I'm just trying to think. Like, just you can stand to speed most things up in ways that seem way too dramatic. So, like, if you're like, oh, they want to hear about this guy who's planning a cult, or the cult is like trying to summon a dark god, you can like start with them at a crazy ritual to summon maybe not the dark god, but a crazy big demon, or like even rip a hole in the world, and then he stop them. And it's like that's not hearing whispers. That's like this is happening, And I think. Like, so in terms of thinking about storytelling,
like first episode of season 1 of Harmon Quest.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I didn't do that intentionally, but like, there's been times when Harmon
rituals are good because you can have a bad guy doing it, and what he's trying to do is going to be related to mechanics and puzzles and MacGuffins, and then usually they're trying to summon the thing that is then the final boss. I mean, this is what. The Horde of the Dragon Queen or whatever, the Tiamat summoning module. That's the whole deal.
Right. I mean, it's almost every campaign is basically involving summoning something somewhere.
Yeah.
Or like summoning a plane to overlap on a different plane. Yeah, that's like again, it spells this out in like the player's handbook or something, but it's like magic is rare. Wizards are often like crazy powerful like malefactors, like enemies, because it's so rare to be magic and it's so powerful to have magic that it's like the only people who do that are already kind of nuts or whatever.
Yeah, there's no socially agreed upon covenant for how you should use your magic.
Yeah, it's not like cell phones where everyone uses cell phones. It's like if just 3 people had cell phones and they're like, I'm playing music, I'm surfing the internet. They'd be gods.
Kind of what that is. I think that's the early adopter dream is to be the guy who people are like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Right. That was Google Glass. I mean, it's like not enough people had them. And so if you're just recording people, you're just a magic asshole.
Mm-hmm. I'm a early adopter on sorcery. So.
Oh yeah, I got some runes.
That's starting to pop up.
Yeah, I got. What do you got? Some good cantrips?
I got magic missile. That's not a cantrip, but I got it. Unless it is now. Is it a cantrip now?
No,
I didn't think so.
Level 1.
Okay, so let's. You wanna end with the segment, or do you want to end?
Let's end strong
with the segment.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So this is a segment. I don't know. This is a segment I'm gonna call alternate monster lore.
Okay. Maybe this will be. Maybe if one of the other questions end up being bad when we think about it, we can cut one of those and just have this instead. All right. Okay. So what's the monster?
So okay. Yeah. What's a good monster?
Vampires.
Okay. Yeah, so vampires. So vampires is the monster. We're going to construct alternate monster lore. Just as some background. In D&D, you'll find in the player's handbook, they explain in the races section that races are different in different like campaign settings in different universes. So it's like in Faerun, the elves are like this, but in Dragonlance, the elves are like this.
But they can also basically be whatever you want because you're playing your shard.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing your like facet of this reality.
Right. That's the point, is that it's it's not the same. You're not playing in the same world. You're playing in like an alternate reality or whatever. Like, and then what, in Dark Sun, gnomes are cannibals or something like that?
Yeah, and like elves are like crazy desert.
Yeah. And so like, that's, you don't think of an elf being a crazy desert man, but why not? Yeah. So that's what we're going to try and do with vampires.
Vampires. We're going to be the first people to really tweak. We're going to take that classic monster and give him a modern twist.
So you said first people, and that's interesting because that's like Native American. So, but before we really, I'll just say that, and then before we really
let's not do that.
Okay, we don't have to.
Let's maybe do something else.
I mean, the thing that your mind has to be thinking to make you say that is very worrying to me, but I'll just roll with it. So what we should start with what is associated with this stuff. Like, if we're talking about goblins, like what's a normal goblin, so we can diverge from it. So normal vampires are,
let's think a classic cross. We got
garlic crosses, light sensitivity.
Immortality. I think like even like deeper than that, we got immortality, parasitism,
right, and blood,
strength. Mm-hmm. I think those would be blood, and I think like that, like everything else. I feel like aversion to daylight.
Yeah,
through some.
That's probably more important than the blood, I would say. I mean, not necessarily, because there's psychic vampires and stuff.
Those are.
But it's like those people sometimes don't like the sun, and sometimes they're fine with it.
That's okay. So what's our deal with our vampires? Who's
right. But what else? What else is there? Their skin burns, but that's sunlight sensitivity.
Yeah.
Garlic,
silver,
crosses. Silver's a good one.
Silver,
mirrors
can't cross running water.
In D&D, they turn into mist.
Oh yeah, that's a fun one. I feel like you don't see that a lot in modern.
It makes them great villains because
they just fucking leave.
Yeah, you can't contain a mist. They're usually, this isn't like specific, but they're usually associated with like aristocracy and kind of like high society, like charisma. They're usually charismatic.
Interesting thing is that in the original Dracula, that was a surprise. That was the twist,
right,
of the story, is that vampires were this like, before that we're like, they're these like woods monsters. Mm-hmm. They're like these like closer to like zombies. They're like kind of mindless. And then it was like, this fancy lord is actually, or this count, I suppose,
Right.
is actually a Dracula. I mean, it was
He's
obvious
he's one of these Draculas.
I
No,
think
that's
I
the
like
funniest
Dracula
thing.
as a noun is
No, it's
one
the
of my favorite
funniest thing.
jokes.
Yeah.
Okay, so what if our vampires are? God, I really shouldn't have picked vampires. There's so many things. There's so many.
Well, we would have had a slam dunk if we made them first peoples, but let's move on from that.
Okay.
No, it's
What if? Okay.
my first instinct was water.
Beach vampires.
Yeah, it was like water. So what are they not like if they can be
still
at the
the
beach?
sun.
So they're night beaches. They surf in the night.
Yeah, they surf. They
Surfing
surf.
vampires.
They surf. They can't cross running water, but they can enjoy the sea. They bury themselves deep in the dunes.
They surf because that's the only way they can cross water.
Yeah, that's the only way. That's it, and they're super good at it because they're so light.
Yeah, they're light and they're just dexterous. Okay, this is a good start.
Yeah.
Okay, beach vampires.
And during the day, they bury themselves deep in the dunes, like sea turtles and crabs and stuff.
Right.
When they make someone, or like when they make a new vampire, they bury you and you have to crawl to the. You know what? They make a bunch at once all together.
Right. They
Everybody
pile
brings
you all
one,
in the thing.
and they bury you, and it's whoever gets to the sea before the sun rises, and they can breathe water because they don't breathe; they can stay underwater.
So they can stay underwater, but they can't cross it.
So
Okay, so they can walk on they can be in water, they just can't swim. Like
I think they can. They don't. It's like they don't breathe, so they can just be in water.
So how can they cross? They can cross water then?
Yeah, because it's not
because they're beach vampires.
It's not a river. It's not like running water. It's coming towards you. They're not. As long as they don't go to the other side of the ocean, they're okay.
Yeah, I mean, sounds what do you call it?
Sensible?
No, it sounds like that's like the vampires like being a stickler. It's like actually, I can be here.
That's I love that though. I love it's like if you have a set of rules, the working cleverly within those rules. That's the good shit.
So they can swim and breathe underwater. Well, what would their primary target be to vampirize? Like I guess humanoids.
Yeah, beachgoers.
Right.
And they disguise their stuff as like shark. Like they would start they would
bats?
they'd disguise their stuff as like shark attacks. Like they'd exsanguinate somebody and then they just like rip the body up, but then like a detective or an investigator could find it. It's like, wait a minute, this body was empty of blood before it was torn apart.
So, and beach vampires then would have like shark teeth more than like vampire teeth. I think.
Shit, hell yeah,
that could be cool.
Yeah, and like webbing on the.
Oh yeah, like web fingers.
Yeah, and then they like to move swiftly through the. They would have like black eyes, I think.
Yeah, like kind of like that real pale skin and kind of like black eyes like a shark or whatever.
Yeah, and they'd hang out under the boardwalk. Like
up by the sun.
Yeah.
Well, not by the sun.
Well, under to protect them from the sun.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's
so they could yeah.
And that's where the final fight would happen with like the king would be under the boardwalk, because it turns out, those are all his spawn, but the guy who owns the boardwalk is the vampire king.
Right, and he's actually constructed somewhat of a boardwalk empire.
Yes, and he's Steve Buscemi. I don't remember anyone else who was on that show.
So this beach vampire variant could be perfect for your Boardwalk Empire campaign crossover.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can find it. It seems like it's right at home.
Boardwalk Vampires.
Boardwalk Vampires.
Yeah. There you go.
Boardwalk Vampire. Okay, so do you have anything to plug?
Don't at me.
Don't at you.
But I'm Skull Mandible on Twitter. Cohen is a ghost.
Follow him and then mute him and then don't ever talk to him.
That's okay. I mean, you can say hi.
No, don't mute him. Just follow him.
Look, I'll mute you if I need to. It's fine.
Yeah. Don't steal his one joke that everyone steals. I mean, he has all the jokes, but people mainly steal one.
Yeah, they do. It's fine. They can have it.
Don't do that, but do follow him.
Yeah, and also follow the Sixler.
Oh yeah, I'm at the Sixler on Twitter. Don't follow me; you'll be disappointed. I'm just yelling. It's I don't do it for me. I don't do it for you. I don't know why I'm doing it, so don't bother. You could also check out Harmontown, the podcast. And what else? Like and subscribe. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Email us.
Oh, yeah. At
bonsaibuddy.com.
we will here. This is where we will ADR the.
Hey guys, it's me, Spencer. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at mastermanualpod. Email us at mastermanualpod@gmail.com. Check us out on Facebook, Master Manual. Yeah, man. And that's gonna do it for Master Manual. So let us know what you think, and if you have any questions, feel free.
All right, you want to play us out?
Yep. In the sense that I'll cut one in.